bangsa bersatu, 213 kaki tangan kedutaan dan pelajar. Kementerian Kesihatan India mengumumkan kes positif COVID-19 di negara itu kini melepasi 1.9 juta. Sebanyak 52,500 带来色彩丰富的
So we're back again with the radio right here. So I'm gonna start to open and dismantle to see the circuit that's inside. Well, let me remove the battery. So once inside, I can see there are a couple of screws here. Let me just open them. So there are only 2 screws, so I think I should open the sides first. And now for this side. So yeah, that's 2 sides open. So at first hand, let me just open. And we can see right here the connection, the basic connection here, which is we have the speaker, we have the antenna, and then the chips all in one board right here. So it seems there's another screw right there, so let me just open it. So as I remove, I can see that right here, this actually the circuit has for this radio, actually this mini radio, it has a functioning light also. It's just like a add-on, another feature, but basically the basic feature is actually the radio. We have the volume control, and also it turns on and off. When it's at minimum, it offs, and then once you turn it on, you can control the volume. Here we have the audio jack. Here we can see 2 buttons, which is written scan and reset. So there are 2 chips actually using here. I don't know if you can see clearly the 2 chips right here. Let me scan. The first chip used here is a 80028 chip, and the other one is it says a BK chip. It's not really clear, but I will try to see with my camera later, and I will get back to you. So I guess next one I will then explain the circuitry with the ICs mentioned in the next video. Right now I will be explaining the circuit that is inside the PCB board, which mainly the 2 IC circuit which I've mentioned previously, which is the 8002A IC, and the other one which is a BK1068. This BK1068 was really small, I could not read, so I had to use the camera to zoom in and then read the IC number. So I've studied the chip pinout and also the diagrams. So first of all, let me explain the BK1068 chip. So what actually BK1068 is, it's actually an all-in-one FM broadcasting receiver, all in a single chip. It contains 8 pins and so I'll be explaining each of the pins. The first one is the 3 volt, which is the input. 3 volt connected to the battery, and then the ground, which is connected obviously to the ground. And then we have the antenna here, connects to a capacitor and then to the antenna here. So the function of this capacitor is actually to block any DC voltage from getting into the chip, because what we want is actually the FM modulated circuit to actually receive the FM modulated wave, and then to actually obtain the hidden, the modulated the information signal that is in the FM modulated circuit. Alright, so then we have the scan button here. This scan is actually to scan the frequency within the broadcasting range. So for example, let's say it has a range from 80 to 100. When we press this push button, it has a push button right here. So it click once, it scans through, and it finds the next frequency that broadcast any song or any sort of a channel, that FM channel. So it scans, let's say, from 80 and then to 82.5, for example, and then 83.9, for example, like that. And then it goes forward till 100. So if you want to actually go back, we have to use the reset button, meaning we have to click the reset, which has a push button here also again. So we click that, it goes back to 0, and then we have to start scanning it again to get the the required FM signal. So next we have the output right here, which is the NF, written in NF. And then the capacitor here again is to filter out any DC voltages from reaching to the output, because we only want the analog audio in the output. So the output right here I have written here, it does not connect to directly into the speaker. It connects to the audio input of the next circuit, which I'll explain in a while. So the last two pins in this BK1068 is the on and volume. As you can see, the on and volume button actually is a potentiometer, because I've observed, because this is based from the radio that I've dismantled. So when the volume is when the potentiometer is set at a very high resistance, the current is too low for it to flow. So it does not turn on the do not allow the output to go from this BK1068. So once at a certain resistance is reached, where the current is enough, then it turns on. And at the same time, at the same amount of resistance also applies for the volume. When there are lesser resistance, that means more current flows, which allows for the volume to increase. So next, as you can see here, the capacitor here, it is connected into the battery. So the function of this is actually to provide a supply for fast transition loads. The capacitor should be, because the capacitor should be connected to the battery, as it supplies of fast transition load for this chip. All right, so next one, as I've mentioned, in the radio that I've dismantled, it has a extra function, which is the LED light. So it's just a basic circuit for the LED, which is just a push button connected to the LED and connected to the ground. So let's move on next to the 8002A chip. This is actually this chip is actually a audio power amplifier. It is designed specifically to provide a high quality output power with minimal amount of external components. So as you can see, there are 8 pins in this 8002A chip. So let me just explain a little on the connection inside. So we have first here is the audio input, which we will receive from the previous chip just now, and then it goes right into this capacitor and the resistor. This is actually a filter, as you can see, because it has the resistor here. So it is actually an RC filter for the audio. It filters out any noise, unnecessary noise that might have been picked up from the modulated signal that received from the BK1068 chip. So once it filters, then it is amplified through here and reaches to the first output, and then we have another amplifier right here, operational amplifier right here, which connects to a 2 resistor which serves as another amplification for the output, which also has a filtering function as shown in the resistor here. So this is actually the biasing which occurs in the circuit with an X NOR and also an OR circuit. So let me explain for the each pins. As we can see here is the negative input, which is from the op-amp amplifier, and this is a positive input which connects actually to ground, and also the positive end of the second operation amplifier also connected to, it is connected to the bypass, which then connects to ground, which then connects this, both of this positive connection of this operational amplifier then connects to a capacitor, and then finally to ground. So what actually this capacitor in this near positive amplifier does, it's actually bypass pin capacitor, which actually provides a half supply filtering. So okay, next pin. So I haven't actually explained what a bypass pin is actually. A bypass pin, it is actually an analog ground for the op-amps, right? Operational amplifier inside, which the values is about half of this VDD, and VDD is actually the power supply, where this IC only functions when there's actually a sufficient amount of power supply is supplied to this VCC, which has a range between around 2.2 voltage to 5.5 voltage. So within this range, if we supply the voltage, it functions. So this 2 pin is actually the output pins, which are pin 1 and 2. And then we have here, which is the ground pin for the connection of the ground. And finally, we have another SHD pin. So it is actually a shutdown logical control for this circuit. So it is actually it is active if it is at input high, which is 1. So all right, so finally at the output, we have actually in the radio, it has actually a speaker and an audio jack, but it only functions one at a time. It does not function simultaneously. So as we can see, this audio jack input is connected to, the positive is connected to a switch circuit, which also connects the speaker. So when an audio jack is inserted into this pin, it automatically switches the output to the audio jacks. So the system, the circuit then favors the audio jack, so allows the user to use the headphones while to listen to the radio. And when he decides to actually listen to the speaker, he just pulls off the audio jack from here and it switches back to the speaker, and the speaker will then outputs the audio of the FM radio station that the user desires. So that's all for the circuit explanation. Thank you. So we're back here again with my final thoughts on this FM radio. So as you can see, these are the board that I've shown previously. So actually it seems that there are a lot going on in this PCB board actually, but actually it's only just two ICs and also some push buttons, and also the potentiometer, speaker, antenna, and then the battery holder. So actually for an FM receiver, it actually requires a lot of process of decoding and so on. But however, due to this advancement in technology, we see that this BK1068 chip itself, it has actually minimized a lot of the components. So we do not require a lot of components to actually obtain the FM modulated signal, and it's actually more smaller and simpler, because the one IC itself has a lot of function, and it's really portable, all in just a small size of palm of my hand. And also it has an audio jack, because nowadays users like to use their headphones. They don't like to bring their speakers around and hear, because it somehow may cause disturbance for their surroundings, so they prefer to just use a headphone. And within the product itself, they actually provide a earphone. So it all comes down neatly in this plastic mold right here, which actually sets a simple product. But however, this simple product itself has complexity of its own, and each of these functions actually are important in obtaining the result, which is to produce the FM radio, which is so simple and so portable. So I have learned a lot from this FM radio, which I knew that we can actually there are actually a simplified IC for simplifying a lot of major components, to avoid a lot of components, and to make sure that they can actually produce a simpler and a cheaper product like this. So that's all from me. Thank you very much.